What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Mind Hiking Podcast. I'm your host, Brody Frye, and this is going to be quite the deep diving episode. Just keep an open mind on this episode, just like all of them. Don't be afraid to ask questions, guys. I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm just saying don't be fearful of asking questions. Don't be afraid to get curious. It's very important to figure stuff out for yourself. Don't just take people's words for it. So keeping that in mind, please enjoy this episode and stay tuned. Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm your host, Brody Frye, and here we dive deep into difficult questions. We'll map out thoughts, theories, and crazy ideas for the love of knowledge and growth. So, how do we answer some of the mind's toughest questions? This is the Mind Hiking Podcast. Jeremy Lesser, welcome back to the podcast. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me again. I'm doing good.
Well, cheers to another good one.
Oh, yeah?
Another deep dive as usual.
Mm-hmm.
We are enjoying ourselves a Miller High Life.
Oh, yes.
Both of us. You got a can and I got a bottle, and on-air light bing
Is on.
is on. We are live. I've been really enjoying these lately.
Yeah. I've always enjoyed them.
Yeah. No, they've always been like good and like they're almost like sweeter and smoother.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're good. I can't settle on one. Like for a while it was the Michelob Ultras, and these are always good.
Yeah.
But you gotta make sure you mark your bottle. So
yeah,
is that dent you mark?
I saw you starting to do it. I'm like, I don't know if you've joined yet or not.
I haven't. Yeah, you want to explain that actually?
Yeah. So Doug, Steph's boyfriend, told us about this game called Game of Life, and basically you have to have your drink marked. If, like, you have a glass, you can put a coaster on top or, like, have your hand on it. Like, it has to be marked at somehow. So, basically, at any point of time, you could be at home, and if you're drinking, and you don't have your drink marked, and someone texts you Game of Life, then you basically have to chug your whole drink right then and there.
Yeah, I think, like, that one time... we messaged Steph and she said like, "Oh, Doug's at a concert right now."
Yeah.
And he just texted Game of Life and he was like, "Fuck."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was funny.
It's so funny. Yeah, and they asked me, like, it was during the engagement party at.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when I think that's when you guys started, right? At the bar there.
Oh, yeah.
And like,
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Doug's like, you want to join in on this? And I was like, fuck no. I'm not going to be a part of that.
Yeah, there was so many times, like, I'll just be drinking at home, and I'm like, oh, shit, I got to mark my can.
Yeah. Oh, my God. You're at home alone, still worried.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's extra paranoia that I don't need in my life.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when I'm trying to unwind and relax. Now you can't.
Yeah, now you're, like, stressing about, like, shit,
You're
are they going to
paranoid.
text me?
Yeah, you're like, I'm being watched. I'm always being watched.
Yeah. Always have that thing looking over your shoulder.
Oh, yes. Big Brother's always watching you.
Yeah.
Well, we're also, you didn't do anything really last night, did you?
No.
I'm trying to become human again.
Basically.
Yeah, went a little crazy last night. Actually, not too bad. It was just like a late night. It was Katie's brother's girlfriend's birthday party, and down in the city, and it was a really good time. All those guys are so amazingly talented. I was telling you earlier, but like they're crazy because they have all, like, they're all musicians and they can all play everything. Like they're just like jumping up and like playing songs, and then they'll just like be like, oh, like, hey, like, you come sing this song or whatever, because like if they have a better voice for that song or whatever, they'll jump onto the mic, and then they'll like swap, like the bass player goes to the drums and like whoever, the guitarist goes to the keyboard, and it's just like they all just like hop on and interchange and just like they're all amazing. It's absolutely incredible and insane. Like I could sit there and watch all night and like so cool. Like I wish. And like for a while, like seeing Jake perform is absolutely insane, and that's kind of a big like inspirational factor of why I wanted to start playing guitar again. So I started doing that, and then I just like stopped this last year.
Yeah.
Like when I started the podcast, I was getting like I was playing before I started the podcast is when I started to get pretty confident, and then I kind of stopped, and then still haven't played since I think when we played on the podcast.
Oh shit.
So I basically I forgot everything. But yeah, it's amazing. Their talent is absolutely incredible, and it's just so cool. I gotta start like trying to. Well, basically, I just embarrass myself, but I gotta start playing again. Or at least try to remember some chords because it's so cool. I love that stuff. But anyways, it was like super late last night, and well, it got later than it was supposed to be because like we left at like 12:20, and it's like an hour and 10 minutes away from home, and Katie just puts on the GPS, and I'm just like tired, but I'm like, okay, like not thinking, just following the GPS mindlessly, and she falls asleep. Still has no idea this even happened. I haven't even told her yet, but she was asleep the whole time. But we just fucking took a detour all the way out. She works an hour away, and we just took a detour out to her work.
So that's what she put in?
Yeah, I believe so, because we were 40 minutes out of the way past our house before I realized this is a different, like I knew it was a different route. I'm like, this is a weird route. But then like all of a sudden, like I see the town name that she works in, and I'm like, my heart and freaking stomach just sink. I'm like, no fucking way. I pull up my phone and type in the home address, and it's just like 40 minutes. And I'm like, we'd already been driving for like an hour and 10 minutes. And I'm like, we should be home by now. And then like, and I'm like, I don't even recognize anything. We should be home. And then I look, and we're still 40 minutes away. I'm like, ugh. And then like we ended up getting home at like 2:20 in the morning. And like, the whole time Katie's asleep. She has no idea if she's
really.
She's either listening through the door right now, or she's gonna find out when she hears this podcast. Because like she was asleep the whole time, and like we get home, and I don't even think she realized the time. And maybe she did, but she didn't put it together that like that drive shouldn't have taken that long.
Yeah.
So that sucked.
God.
Yeah, I was like, fuck.
I have to stay awake when I could have been in my bed.
Oh, yeah, I know. I was not happy.
You were a sleepy boy as well.
Yeah, I was cranky. I literally just like come in the house, brush my teeth, and just like slap my head on the pillow and
yep, knocked out within the first 30 seconds.
Yeah, literally. But yeah, so it was still a really good night. It was just like a frustrating drive home.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love nights like that. So I'm again like I didn't drink too much, but like it's more of the exhaustion.
Yep.
That like
makes your body want it more.
Yeah, I feel like the exhaustion's like worse than a hangover sometimes. Which
literally.
Yeah. Like beer hangovers aren't even that bad.
No. I rarely have had them. Like I think the first time I had one was like I think it was probably Florida.
Oh.
It was like the first time I actually had a hangover.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I if you drink like the sweet drinks like the Seagrams or the Mikes or anything like that, like then you, or like I love those spiked Arnold Palmers, like that'll fuck you up the next day.
Oh yeah.
But like anything sugary like that, or what's the other one? Yeah, there's like a lot of like the Mikes are probably the roughest.
Oh yeah.
Like if you're drinking like Mikes all night, that
it tastes like you're literally just drinking alcoholed
sugar
popsicles.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's not what I always thought they tasted like.
Yeah,
it
you're
was
right.
like a fucking liquored up popsicle.
Yeah, actually, but the seltzers are actually really light. Like if you slam those all night, then that's what I do like about it. I think they're overrated, but like you don't get a hangover on those.
No. And if you can, you drank a lot. Good job.
Yeah, good job. Nice accomplishment.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I kind of wanted to, in this episode, it's been long enough, I suppose, and it's on the northmost portion of my logo is the UFO craft abducting the Mind Hacking Podcast logo, but like, I'm always like hesitant to bring up this topic just because the biggest reason is just because Stephanie's like, you talk about this too much.
Ever since she said that, UFO ratings have gone down.
Yeah, literally, the UFO topic just like basically died off on the podcast because, I mean, I'll bring it up here and there, but like I won't actually get into it.
So what you're telling me is you allowed someone to tell you what you're doing too much, and they made you change. You're allowing someone to change who you are.
Yep. Somebody affected me.
You've been cursed.
Yeah, literally, just an opinion just made me change who I was. Fuck.
Shit.
Fuck. People pleasing at its finest.
Indeed. I'm a very bad person with that.
Yeah, people pleasing.
Yeah.
Are you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I don't know. That's a fine line because it's tough to like find the line or the balance between like being a good person and what's too far as like people pleasing.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to like you want to be a good person, but you also don't want to sacrifice yourself.
Yeah, like you also don't want people to think they could take advantage just because you're a people pleaser.
Right. And
that definitely happens.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people out there that like there's like I guess selfish people that like don't even realize they're taking advantage of you, but like fully are just because they know you're not going to say no kind of thing. And like it's tough to, like I said, you want to be a good person and you want to do what's right and like help people and serve, but like there's a line there.
Yeah, literally.
There's definitely like a, hey, like I'm not just like your server. But yeah, that's a tough line.
Yeah.
But yeah, also quick side, was that my phone? Or?
No, it's mine.
Oh shit.
I don't know what it is. I've never heard that ding before.
I've never heard that either. I was like, huh. But
oh, it's a text message.
Oh, that's interesting. But another thing too I wanted to bring up quickly that I just thought of was
it was because they liked my message.
Oh yes.
That's the blink.
Oh fuck yeah.
I'll keep it in my pocket. It's quieter.
Fuck yeah. Well, you got a nice chest. Har. Yeah, without the T. No, I have never played chess in my entire life, but I did also this weekend. It's been a was it this weekend or no? That was Friday.
No,
yeah,
it was Friday night. Yeah.
So yeah,
I was like,
pretty good week. Yeah,
was it?
This weekend's actually been pretty long.
Did we just have a full week in between that?
Literally. Oh god, time really does fly.
Literally, it's surprising to me that it's already the end of February.
Yeah, February launched by.
All of a sudden, it was like, you can do your taxes, and then now it's like,
yeah,
where'd February go?
Yeah, literally. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this month is. Last year flew by,
right?
And then
it starts in February, right? Ends in April.
I think the turn of the year, January 1st, you can.
Oh.
I think. Well, you obviously got to wait for your W-2 and or whatever your tax documents are. But
I don't know.
Yeah, I think. But the due date is by April 15th.
Gotcha.
I think during COVID they moved it to like the 17th, April 17th. I don't know. Whatever.
I mean, did people make enough money back then?
Yeah.
COVID to get a tax return?
Yeah, I don't fucking know. Yeah, they took enough money. They're just like, fuck. They owed money, so they're like, let's just skip it.
Yeah.
But
they just combined both years' taxes together.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Go ahead.
But you can't do that.
Yeah.
If they did.
Yep. But no, you and Doug are both really good at chess.
I think we were just like that last game. I think we were both like at the perfect high where we're like,
yep,
like we could think outside our normal mind, but like we were also super conscious of what the other was doing.
Yeah,
to an extent, because there was a few times where I got him and he didn't see it, and then he got my queen. When I didn't see it, I'm like, shit. He's like, did you really just set me up for that one?
Yeah, no, I've it was amazing because like that was the first night I've ever played chess in my life. Like a few things have been happening in my life where like chess keeps like being brought up, and I'm like, that's weird, like randomly, and I like have never played chess or had like, I mean, I've been curious, but I never really had a desire to learn
about chess.
Yeah, chests. Yeah. Oh yeah, until I saw yours. No. Yeah, no, it was like finally just like a bunch of things happen in life where like it keeps coming up, and I'm like, I really think I'm being told to learn this shit.
Yeah.
But like it just come up in weird settings. So finally Doug was good at it. He's like, you want to come over and learn? And I was like, fuck yeah. So then we all went over there and started learning. Been watching a lot of YouTube videos ever since. And I also got a chess set on the way.
Fuck yeah.
From Amazon. So can't wait for that to get here. And now that's my new life's passion. Just kidding.
No, yeah, like I guarantee you, like when Queen's Gambit came out,
Yeah.
chess probably like skyrocketed.
Yeah, I'm
like,
always so fucking late to the game. It's like
I mean, I don't know when it came out. It may have been during COVID.
Yeah,
it was
because I remember the ads for it during COVID. Like,
yeah.
But like I always like wait on things because it's like things get popular and then it's like, oh, that's fucking overrated. That's overrated. Wait for it to die out and then I jump on.
Yeah. So then you're not just being like a little bandwagoner on the backside of the football team that you don't normally root for because they never win and then they make the Super Bowl. Then you're like, woo, that's my team.
Yeah, exactly. You wait till they're actually in the playoffs before you become randomly like the new biggest fan.
Yep.
And then you're one of those people that every year you have a new favorite team.
Yep. Yeah, literally. Whoever's winning.
Yeah. That's my team.
Yeah. They change everything that all their whole wardrobe. They throw their team out, buy all new stuff.
Yep.
Probably put a flag out in their yard with the team that they like.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, my
But then when they lose, they switch teams.
Oh, yes. Exactly. Yeah, they're just... they lose the Super Bowl, and they're just like, I never rooted for them. I was just...
Yeah.
I just had this stuff.
Yeah. I got this from, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But...
Yeah, but it's like this podcast even.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wait for podcasting to just, like... It was super popular, then now it, like, nobody listens to podcasts anymore, and now all of a sudden I'm like, I want to do one.
Yeah. Like, well, technically it, like, did boom.
Yeah.
Like, right once it started.
Yep.
And then I'd say, like, a lot of people that probably started doing it stopped.
Yeah. No, I don't think podcast. I think it's been growing year over year for sure. But like, it's definitely been past the excitement, like the new flashy excitement point where it's like kind of like part of everyday life now. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, okay, let's hop in this.
Yeah.
Like I got to get through that, like the overrated flashiness first. And then I'll be like, okay,
this looks pretty good.
Now it's cool.
Yeah.
Because if it was like when it was booming, like when it first came out, then I would look like I was just jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
Like I'm just doing it to be cool. But
yeah. Well, I think there's also like an in between there.
Yeah, there
like
is.
if right once it starts before it gets that first big spike and you get it, I think you're not like a bandwagoner.
If you can be early enough. Yeah. But if it's like booming already, then you gotta wait a little.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, there's sweet spots for everything.
Oh yes, there is. Everyone loves a good sweet spot.
Oh yeah, you got some good sweet spots too.
Mm-hmm. And you've explored them all.
Mm. Oh yes, I know exactly where those sweet spots are. God, yeah.
But no, yeah, like fucking when me and Doug played, like it was literally like he started to come at me. And, like, just, he took my queen, and then it was, like, he had, like, the higher chance of winning. And then all of a sudden, it's, like, you can feel, like, when I had my knight, like, I just bounced it around the board a few turns. And he's like, fuck. Yes. Like, it's, like, you can tell, like, when, like, I'm pushing back, and then he pushes back. Like,
sexually.
Yes. Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Dougie loves a good bald head.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You shaved that night and, like, so smooth.
Yeah.
He can't resist.
Oh, literally, he can't. Like, anytime I've, like, been bald, he's like, can I rub it?
Yeah.
He's like, rub the orb for good luck.
Yeah, literally. Oh my goodness.
But no, that was like it's like when we were playing, like to me, I could feel like the push and pull on the board type thing.
It's like a tug of war match.
Yeah.
Like a mental tug of war.
Yep.
Like one thing I noticed too playing was like just the mental strain of like having to watch everything, but like knowing that your opponent is like seeing things that you're not, and it's like, what?
I was thinking that like a few times when Doug sat there for like a minute, and I'm like, oh, shit, does he see me what I'm going through?
Yeah,
does he know my moves?
Exactly. No, it's so cool, but it's like almost like awkward trying to like keep. It's like almost like a poker face, but like a chess face.
Yep.
Where it's like you're trying to
fake them with them right in front of you,
with them face to face with you. Like it's more intense of like an emotional, I guess, game than poker, because like poker you're sitting around it and there's like a group of guys and you can kind of like shrink down and hide in the crowd, I guess.
Yeah.
Where like chess, it's like you guys are competing directly facing each other and like making moves, and it's like trying to outsmart each other, and it's like a really like I feel like there's like, I don't know, it's a cool game. I love it. It's a thinking game. It's like it goes along with like everything that I love, like puzzle games that make you think but you're on your own kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I love that shit. So I don't know why it took this long to learn. I guess I thought it was like super complicated, and I was just like, not really worth it.
It kind of is like when the first time you do it, and then it's like, okay, this after like a game or two, it's like, okay, this all makes sense.
Yeah.
It's now just blending their moves together to like block areas or.
Because I knew every piece like moved differently, and I'm like what the fuck? Like, why does every piece have to have a different movement? I'm like, that's fucked. So I just like never had any desire. I'm like, that game is like way too confusing and messed up. So, but like now that you like, that was the hardest thing, was like trying to remember which pieces can do what, and then it's like remembering which pieces can do what that your opponent can also use against you. So it's like, not only are you trying to like figure out what you're able to do, you're also having to realize like your opponent has a piece right there that can do that weird move right to the space you're moving to. So it's like, there's so much.
You have to almost think ahead where they're going.
Yeah.
Like if like there was one time where it's like I saw Doug had like a knight on his left side.
Yeah.
And he's like could move it up and like get one of my like bishops and then like come to my queen or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so if I move here, then this is going to be open. And if I move here, then you may come this way. So it's like you have to think ahead.
Yeah.
For their moves and yours.
Yeah, literally. Not only. Yeah, exactly.
Not it's like only, you have to try to be like 3 moves ahead.
Right. Yeah, like 3 moves ahead for both of you guys.
Yeah.
Because it's like, not only do you have to know every option that you can possibly make, which is already hard enough, but you also have to know every possible option your opponent can make and prepare for it all.
Yeah.
In the moves that you can make.
Yep.
Because it's like you can get bent over, and also not only that, but you don't know which one of those options your opponent's going to make. It's just like, it's just a cool game. So,
yep.
I was watching YouTube videos on it, just trying to like, for me, it's like the starting is like, does it matter kind of thing? But then the more I'm looking, it does. But like, for me, it's like, it felt like it was like, okay, so I just got to get all my pieces forward basically to make contact pretty much. But like now I'm the more I'm watching videos, the more it's like, okay, there's strategy behind it all for sure. But yeah, really enjoyable.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They literally have books of just like strategies.
Yeah. Yeah. And like the videos I was watching, I was getting so lost. I had to back them all up like 100 times. I'm like, what did he just do? Like because they'll go from like waiting like 5 minutes between each turn to like boom, 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 boom. They're back and forth. Like they all have these plans like completely made out, and they're just like boom, boom. If he does this, I'm doing this. I'm doing this, and they're like they go like 5 turns within like 10 seconds, and then they'll go to where like one of them finally stops, and then it's like 5 minutes of waiting, and then
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom. It's
literally.
cool. It's a cool game, but
Yeah.
like when that happens, it's hard to follow.
Yeah, and there's like what they've learned is like there's certain strategies you can start out with, and then people have figured out the counter strategy
Yeah,
to whatever that is. So it's basically
Yeah.
like a bunch of counter strategies,
yeah,
like at the very start to try to like
yeah,
get through their defenses,
Yeah.
type thing.
the options and
Yeah.
things. Yeah, because like during the competition videos I was watching, 'cause I'm a nerd. They had like an odds bar where
Yeah.
they had like the blacks or the whites, like what the odds of them winning was. Like every move they would make, if they made a move, like the odds of like whoever would go up and the other would go down. And it's just like based off of the position. Like one position can completely change. Like,
Yeah.
like if they make one wrong move, they could completely destroy their odds
Yeah.
of winning, which is crazy. It's really cool game.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to learn more, and I'm just literally beginning now.
Yeah.
So pretty
Yeah,
cool.
it's a lot of fun.
Yep. Also another update too, because I'll keep the chess thing updated, but the mushrooms, the
yes.
performance mushrooms I've been taking every morning. It's been a week straight, and it's fucking amazing. I love it. Makes me feel good. It's like good, focused, steady energy without a crash. And then no gurgly stomach either. So it's like, it's nice. I like it.
Yeah.
So definitely would recommend. So, and I just like, coffee always got me like super jittery and shaky and like gurgly stomach. And it's just nice I've been wanting to like find a replacement. Cause
Yep.
I feel like, I mean, it comes with anything like where you could find research to support any opinion that you have. Like there's so much that says coffee is really good for you. And there's so much with the antioxidants and blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. But, and then there's like so much that says that it's so bad for you. And it's like, it's just not good to fill your body with caffeine like that. And especially if you load it up with sugar and creamer and
Well, like, if you think about it, everything was put on this earth for us to consume, except for
Yes.
if they're actually poisonous.
yeah.
So, like, if it's on the earth, unless you're, like, what is it? I literally just said the word. If you're allergic to it.
Oh,
Like, if you're allergic to something, then yeah, it's not good for you. But,
Yeah.
like, if it's in nature and it's good, like, you
Yep.
can eat it. To me, it's kind of like, it's already here, so how can it be bad for you?
yeah. Like penis.
Yeah.
Like it's here.
It's here.
There's two of them in this room right now. How could it be bad for you?
Yeah. Literally. No, but, like, I think, like, if something's grown in nature, unless you're, like, eating strictly only that thing,
Yep.
then it's perfectly fine for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just played chess with your bottles.
I know. I was totally thinking that. I'm like, do. My brain's just in that.
Yeah.
Hang on. I gotta go. Hang on. Move this.
Just gotta lift the skirt.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Can you hear the foam? No, not really.
Not really. If you go like this, you could.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You could. Yeah. Devin's episode, he was drinking Pepsi and
Oh,
Coke
yeah?
and like cracking it open. You could hear the fizz, and it was like actually like we basically made a Pepsi commercial. Yeah.
Nice.
So foamy. I'm like, oh, that actually sounds good. But also freaking High Life is so foamy. Look at those bubbles.
Yeah, look at them bubbles.
That's amazing. I was always fascinated with that. Like you look where the bubbles start.
carbonation.
Where the fuck are those things coming from?
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I gotta research.
It's basically, I think it's just carbonation is cause bubbles,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah. I'm so
But, like-
fucking curious about the world. Like, look,
What are the molecules
It's-
that infinitely multiply and breed into bubbles?
it's literally liquid, but then the bubbles look like they come from nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the ones where they, like you see bubbles rising, but, like, sometimes you see streams where it's like,
Yeah, from the bottom.
and they're just, like, flying
Yeah.
up. And it's like, where are you coming from?
Yep.
And why are you starting there?
Yep. Yeah, literally.
What the fuck? So weird. I got the weirdest fucking questions. Oh, that's so weird. There's one right
Yeah,
there.
there's like bubbles on the bottom that I'm watching that are like just.
Yeah, what the fuck? Time to go in my belly, Bubbles.
Yep.
You picked the wrong place to spawn.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's funny.
Yeah. All right. That was a lot on my chest. But being curious about the world, you got to ask questions. And it's like,
Yep.
why not do mushrooms?
True. Why not?
But seriously, like
Like a hen in the woods. A
oh, yeah.
morel.
Yeah, morels are fucking amazing.
What else is around here? I thought there was one more.
There's a shit ton. I have a whole mushroom like hunting book. But
I'd say the only mushrooms that I've ever liked are the wild ones that we've picked.
yeah, the wild ones are amazing. They're so
Like
good.
hen in the woods, like
Yeah.
it looks like a disgusting blob
yeah.
of blubber,
Yeah.
but it
actually-
tastes fucking good.
Dude, yeah, because we went out and picking those things all day out of
Yeah.
the farm, and like that's like what we had for dinner.
Yep.
Like we just like fried them up in butter and flour, and just like a pan full of everything we picked that day, and just like ate all that for dinner, just mushrooms.
And then your mom would always make the jam
Oh yeah,
or the jelly or whatever it
yeah,
was.
the blackberry jam. Yeah,
Yep.
so good. That was like the best stuff.
Yeah.
That was like the only growing up. Like I always hated jam with the seeds because jams with
Yeah.
seeds and jellies without, and I hated it. But like this is the only thing I could have with the seeds.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is fucking amazing. Like
Fuck
the
yeah.
homemade jelly.
Like I don't like mulberries or
oh yeah,
I forgot the other one. Because one grows on trees and one grows on plants.
Oh yeah, the mulberries. I remember those.
Mulberry bush.
Yeah.
What goes on the tree?
Fuck, you're right. I don't know. Yeah, there's a couple types of berries. We had all of them on the farm,
So,
but like,
your mom would like make them specifically out of like
Yeah.
the bushes and
Yeah.
like so good.
yeah.
And I wonder if their plants are probably still there.
Oh yeah, they
Like
are.
I'd
yeah.
love to just be like, fuck it.
Yeah. And it's actually very common. Like you'd be surprised what you guys can like, even if you live in a neighborhood, what
Yeah.
you can actually like forage.
Yeah,
in
like
your
we had the
neighborhood.
ones on the trees at the Victor house.
Yeah,
we had
yeah.
one or two of them in the backyard.
We were literally walking the dogs over the summer last year, and I was like, holy shit, look at that. Like it was just like in one of the like one of the empty lots, and in the neighborhood, and I'm walking by, and there's just a like blackberry bush, and I'm like, holy shit, look at that. And I was like, those are fucking blackberries. And I go running up there, and Katie's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I was just like, these are blackberries. We used to pick these all the time at the farm. And I pluck one and just pop it in my mouth. She's like, oh my God, that could be poisonous. Why are you eating something? Like, just like so worried about like, and that's like nothing
It's
against
crazy
her.
how uncommon it is.
Yeah.
Like that people don't know about. Like instead of going to a store, you have food literally in a city.
Yeah,
Just
no.
growing and it's just going to drop to the ground
You're
and die.
so right about that. Cause it's like, I forget how little the world knows about life. Cause like,
Yeah.
I think like we had a normal upbringing as from our perspective. It was like, yeah,
Literally.
we just had a normal upbringing. Now everything's fine kind of thing. But then like, I'll do things like that where I'm like absolutely 100% certain I know what this is. It's edible kind of thing. It's just part of everyday life. Like we'd be out in the woods picking things like that and eating them right there. And,
Yep.
but like for a lot of people that grew up in neighborhoods or grew up like in the city or whatever, like that's unheard of. Like
Yeah.
how could you eat something from
Like
nature?
if a morel grew in the city somehow.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
how many people would think that's poisonous and all of a
Yeah.
sudden you just walk there, pluck it and then just eat it right
Yeah,
away?
yeah.
Like they'd be like
yeah.
poison control or whatever.
Which there is plenty of berries out there, plenty of things that are poisonous
Oh, yeah.
and could severely hurt you. But we grew up with that, and we grew up with foraging, and we knew what we were doing, kind of thing. I don't know. That's just part of our everyday life and part
Yeah.
of the skills we learned growing up. But like, I forget how uncommon that is because like, even with like Katie, like I just like we've been together so long, and like I saw those and I'm just like, I don't know. It was just interesting for me where I was like, that is interesting to see. Like, I don't know, because she grew up in the suburbs, and like I don't know, I just didn't think it was that uncommon until
Yeah.
like that I don't know, that was just a point that like impacted me where I'm like, wow, like the world really doesn't know a lot.
Yep.
It doesn't know how easy or how much easier it is to live in nature and off the land,
Yeah.
eat naturally than it actually like what they think it is. Because like I remember seeing a comment on something, Instagram or something, but like somebody was like said something about like how we need to stop killing animals and just get our meat from the grocery store where it comes from.
Oh yeah.
Do you hear
Yep,
about that?
I
Yeah, and
did.
I'm just like, wow, wow. Like people are absolutely clueless. We're so like enveloped in our structure that we've created around us that people don't even know where shit comes from.
Yep.
Like it's absolutely insane. Like that's a real thing. Mm-hmm. Like this is gonna sound weird, but one of the cartoons that I love growing up watching, and it's just like still impactful to me today. There's so much more messages within this cartoon, but at Adventure Time,
Oh yeah.
that night we were playing chess. We just had that on in the background, and there was a scene where like one of the characters was just like said something about like I don't know where food comes from, and then the other one was just like the server or whatever was like, oh, it comes from blue, and starts talking, and he's just like, no, I don't want to know. That's why I'm royalty and you're servitude. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's like, oh my goodness. But it is.
It's true.
It is true. Like people don't know. They're so like,
They want to be so blind
yeah,
to like
yeah,
everything.
blind to everything, and then tell us that we need a change. It's like people that like live out in the country and forage for their own foods and like raise their own animals to eat, and like leaving zero footprint because they're creating everything where they lie off their land. Mm-hmm. They're living like that, but then you got people in the city that are just like supporting massive factories and like chemical farming, like massive farms that are just like using all these like horrible chemicals to grow their crops.
Yeah.
And like cramming animals into tightly packed cages instead of like having free range chickens and stuff, which takes space. Like, and then you have like these people in these packed cities that are trying to tell us that we need to help the environment.
Yeah.
Just
They're eating little chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
Not knowing where chicken nuggets come from.
Exactly. Or the processing behind all the restaurant food that they're eating.
Yep.
And we're out here living off the land, just raising and eating what we need rather than just supporting restaurants that are just dumping so much good supplies and food just because somebody didn't finish their meal or somebody, it's just like so much waste. And then you have them telling us that we need to stop driving diesel trucks because it's bad for the environment.
Yeah, literally.
It's just like, okay, how about you just like zoom out quickly and just take a look at your skies versus our skies.
Yeah, literally.
Like you can't even see the stars where you're living,
No.
and you're trying to tell us what to do.
Yeah.
But whatever. There's just like how removed these people are from nature and where we came from. Like how many steps removed. And it kind of goes with like what you were saying earlier about coming from nature and like what really is natural, because like we're natural and like everything around us is natural, but then like what makes it not natural, us tampering with it, or like how many times do we got to tamper with it to make it not natural? Because like picking a plant and then transporting it is like processing it. So like how much processing does it take to make something be considered processed?
Yep. That's true.
I don't know. It's funny. And again, I think a lot of this goes back to the English language and just like how we word things.
Yep.
Because that's an interesting thing, language, and the way we put meaning behind words and what words mean what.
Yeah.
Weird thing.
Yeah, like how someone was just like, this is going to be called this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, the word this
Yeah.
is for this. Like, who created this, and why does this sound like such a correct word for this?
Yeah, exactly. And that, like, we can't, like, we think with emotions, but we can't put emotions into words. So there's always going to be a disconnect for talking, communication, because you're using words that show more emotion in your thoughts than, or different ones than other people, and then you're sending those words out, and then they have to take those words in, what they mean and how you said it, and then like decode that, and it's like so ineffective. It's such an ineffective way to communicate.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people say
Telepathy is best.
Yes.
Just kidding.
But like, oh fuck, like, god damn it, I just lost my thought.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Keep going with what you were saying.
I was just saying the decoding of language and like how, like, it's just.
Oh yeah, actions are louder than words.
Oh yeah,
That saying.
That's a good way to say that. Yeah, absolutely. Because like what you say you can do can mean something totally different, or like it's not as powerful, obviously, than holy shit, you actually did it, kind of thing. Because like taking it in with other senses rather than decoding language in your head is like seeing somebody do something rather than like hearing somebody say something. You don't get the imagery that like, because like our thoughts are definitely in pictures, and like being able to visualize what somebody's actually doing and seeing it rather than like words and then decoding what those words mean into photos.
Like reading a book over like a deaf person watching like your body language. Yeah,
exactly. But I think people like books so much is because they can kind of twist the words into what they believe fit, or what something that keeps their interests personally, and like they can tweak what the characters look like, and they can tweak everything. They can kind of like cater to themselves in their heads, and that's why books are so good. And then when you watch a movie, it's somebody else's imagination that you're viewing. Like somebody else decided that this is how this should be, and then you're watching that rather than like being able to create it in your own head. So that's
we're losing IQ.
Yes, because we can't think for ourselves.
That's why they said back then, your TV turns your brains to mush, kids.
Have
an imagination.
Exactly. Hard. You're absolutely right. We're just frying our brains. It's like we're just trying to like finding ways to stimulate our brains without having to strain them. It's like, how can I lift more weight without actually exerting force?
Literally. I've tried to start working out again, and it's just like, do I have to lift weights to get like fit? Like, do I really? And I'm like, get your fucking ass up, you fucking bitch.
It's like, fuck. No wonder why people are doing steroids.
Literally.
It's like, fuck, I don't want to do this. I'll just use this needle.
Lifts their 18-ounce curls, and it gets absolutely buff as fuck.
Oh, yeah, exactly. What the fuck? Oh, my goodness. All right, we like brought up the UFOs, and then just like...
that's true. See, this is what happens.
This is what happens.
When it gets brought up and said we talk about it too much, we avoid the subject.
Exactly. So I want you guys to go into the kitchen right now, go into your little baggy drawer where you keep your plastic bags and wraps and wax paper and stuff like that. Go ahead and grab your aluminum foil, pull out a big long sheet, and wrap that shit around your skull. Stretch it out to a point on the top. Just wring out this little point, and then grab the sides and just pull that shit so fucking tight around your ears, because we are about to enter the UFO zone. Actually though, this is I'm not sure how far we're gonna go, but I've been pretty heavy into this topic recently, and I definitely do my research before I believe in something. If you can't tell by the podcast already, but like, there isn't no reason why I was curious about this topic in the first place. I like to ask questions, and I like to get answers, and I like to find out for myself, and I'm always seeking knowledge and wisdom, and I'm not gonna like just believe in the first video that pops up or whatever. Like, I'm actually gonna find pages, Google things, and find pages that actually say things, and watch a lot of videos too. But look for the information before I'm like, okay. I like to hear both sides. I like to hear like conventional explanations to see like what we're supposed to believe in, and then look into the abstract opinions as well, just to why would I close myself off? I want to know what people think and why people think things, and like I want to know all the possible explanations, and then take in the information and decipher for myself. I don't like people telling me how to think, which is why I am not afraid to ask tough questions. I like trying to find out things for myself. So that's why this is the Mind Hiking Podcast. Because we're not afraid to ask questions. We're not afraid to go into crazy subjects, because you shouldn't be ridiculed for asking questions that people are afraid to ask, because you're being courageous enough to step into an uncomfortable zone where, and I think that's why there's so much confusion around this subject, because this is psychological warfare. It's been programmed in us to treat this subject like a joke, because there's certain people that don't want us finding out about it. Because if we can make a joke about it, if we can have film companies, if we can, dude, the more you dig into this, the more information there is. But if we can take, I'm going to try to, this is going to be just like an introduction, I guess, because I don't want to go, it's going to take too long to go too deep. But if we can get control of film companies, then we can make, or at least sway opinions, and we can make this like a mainstream kind of like sci-fi or even like comedical joke kind of topic, and just ridicule people that take this serious, because this is just Hollywood stuff. This is just oh my goodness. Like, if you can make it so absurd that it can't be possible, then you won psychological warfare. And you're absolutely ostracized and ridiculed if you take the UFO subject seriously. And in recent years, it's definitely improved, where people are starting to talk about it, and it's actually a serious question now. But for decades, it was like career ending if you questioned this. Yeah. And it still is. Like,
you'd be seen as a psychopath.
Yeah, you'd be seen as a psychopath. You can never be taken seriously. Like, especially like in the educational system or the like political arena, there's like, you are insane if you even question this topic. And I think that that's absolutely outrageous. Why can't you ask questions? Like, that's insane. But and it is just psychological warfare from people that are in power. From it's just like, it's slipped away. It's kind of slipped into its own thing, just like a separate entity of the U.S. government. Because like, even the U.S. government, as you can see from like these congressional hearings on UFOs, they don't know, and they want to know. Yeah. It's like, it's a bipartisan topic, and why is there holdup? And it's just because the U.S. government isn't in control of this program, but it's being paid for by us
Yep.
in our taxes. They're like skimming money off of the top of black budget programs that can't be looked into by the IRS because they're black budget and you need security clearances, high level security clearances. So if they label it as black budget, then they can't look into it. But there's a way to siphon money off the top of that without anybody knowing because they can't look into it. So that's how these secret black budget programs are being funded. And the other thing is like the clearances, because there's like the US president or like high level other like House members like can't get access to these programs because it's like a breakaway government, like a rogue government within our government, funded by our government, funded by us. And I just don't know how much I should say because I know it all, but there was basically a original core group of people that and I can't start a topic without going back to the very beginning either. Like there's
That's okay.
so much, but like we know that the majority of the UFO sightings or interest that they had in us is, first of all, the UFO question isn't a question. Are we alone is not even a question anymore. We absolutely are not alone. There's definitely been beings visiting us for a very long time. There's so much documentation and there's so many sightings. And I've said before on other episodes where like we've evolved and survived and became who we are today with our five senses. And it's worked for our survival and evolution this long. So why do people not take eyewitness accounts seriously? Our eyes have saved us from predators forever since our existence, and we can't take eyewitness accounts seriously. And another thing too is like any like criminal trial is majority of the facts are eyewitness accounts, eyewitness testimonies. And you can sentence somebody to death with an eyewitness account, but you can't say whether or not UFOs are real or not based off an eyewitness account, or even like up near tens of thousands of eyewitnesses. Like the biggest eyewitness account was the Arizona Lights, but there was like over 10,000 witnesses to that, and still like joked about. In like the very next day there was a press conference with the governor, and they're like, oh, we've discovered the reason for the UFO, the like Arizona Lights, and he comes out on stage and brings out a dude dressed in an alien costume in a congressional press conference, like as a joke, just like trying to play this off. And it's like the more they do that, the more they joke about. And I don't think it's directly these people. I don't think they know what they're doing or that they're doing it. I think they're being told like this is what you need to do or bad things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And there is documentation of things like that. And the more you look into the UFO topic, the more you see how it branches out into other questions. Like, like this even taps into, it's going to be so crazy and like insane for a lot of listeners, but this even taps into like the JFK assassination.
Oh yeah.
Where, and if you look into that too, you'll see one thing that was messed up about all that, like we don't have to go into it all, but basically it ties into the Marilyn Monroe death as well. Supposedly it was reported as a drug overdose. which is insane because like how wide the UFO topic is spread and the willingness of these corrupt people to go the lengths that they do to cover this up just for the power. It's not even for the money. Like, money is not an object. They can have access and print and do whatever they want. Which there's also documentation to prove that as well. But it's not for the money. It's for the power, and not just power of like, people think too smallly. People think too like, oh, to keep control of like the country, to get the next president elected. None of that matters. Like all the puppeteer jokes and stuff like that, it's closer to that than you think, but also not really, because it doesn't matter who's, like, all politicians are just flashy people that want fame, and that's all. They don't really have any power.
Yeah.
It's the people in the background. It's the people that are keeping the world the way it is. And people are keeping the world the way it is because of the power they get from it. There's 4 major oil companies that essentially run the world because the world runs on oil.
Yep.
And we can't separate that because these people in power would lose enormous amounts, larger than the U.S. debt. Like, I don't even know what the U.S. debt is at right now. Like, probably pushing up near 14 trillion.
Trillion.
Yeah. I think last time I saw it was like 13 point something trillion. It's probably up near $14 trillion now, which is absolutely insane. But like, all the assets in the oil industry is like if you think about the equipment and the investments, the entire world, everything that transports us, everything that moves us, everything that processes anything is run by oil and coal.
Yep.
And then if you think about all that on top of all of the natural assets of like oil fields and like coal mines and everything in the ground that we still haven't even harvested out, it's probably damn near like $300 trillion in assets in the oil industry invested already. Mm-hmm. Like absolutely outrageous amounts of money. And this is why that this topic is fought for and suppressed as hard as it is, because that's world-changing amount of money and power. Mm-hmm. And that's what it's about, because we can't steer the world running off of oil. There's documentation, too, of the patent office stealing, confiscating inventions and just like black shelving it, which basically means tucking it on a shelf and keeping it hidden from the world forever because it's too efficient. Like anything over like 22% for a solar panel is confiscated and just stuffed down. Nobody needs to know about that. And the person that invented it is either one of 3 things. Either paid off and said, we're buying this, and they'll tell them this is for the U.S. military or whatever. Here, you're not allowed to talk about this ever again. Here's $10 million. Keep your mouth shut. Or they're threatened with their life. Maybe a combination of both. But like, we will terminate you or your loved ones or whatever the threat may be. And again, suppressed. And then the other thing is they're murdered.
Yep.
And that'll keep them quiet. But because if you had like a photovoltaic cell more efficient than like 22 to 25%, then you could convert everything into solar panels and run the world off of solar energy rather than coal and oil, which would devastate the assets and the banks that own these oil companies. Everything is just a major investment. It's all about these major companies that own other major companies that also own news sources to put out the information that you guys trust, which is just another reason why podcasts are so much better, because it's just straight source.
Yep.
Rather than paid off. And the frustrating thing too is like the faces of this, like the politicians or the news reporters don't know. They don't realize that it's this bad. They don't realize until like they get a call like, hey, you can't report on this, which happens all the time.
Yeah.
People find news stories that are like, holy shit, this is world changing. And then it's like, no, you can't do that because too many people would lose their jobs. Too many people would lose too much money. It's like that. Our line of work is very interesting. We solve a lot of problems and we do a lot of good. And there was a solution that was come up with by somebody in our industry. And I don't know how far I can go with this, but
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
For solving a major issue in the cities, specifically in the cities, anywhere in the world, anywhere on roads, but like solving a major issue that we deal with every day. And it was shot down because it would get rid of too many jobs. This solution would get rid of too many jobs. That's a real thing. Mm-hmm. Solutions being shot down because it would destroy too many jobs, or it would change the course of our growth right now, and too many of these major companies would lose too much money, too many assets, which is power. They're going to be losing their power and their control, and they want the world running on what they own because they got such a large investment in it. Mm-hmm. Like world changing. I'm not talking like, oh, I'm going to lose money on. I'm going to lose a few $100,000 on my investments or whatever. No, like world changing power and money, and that's the motivation behind all of this.
Yeah.
It's insane how deep this goes. This is what I mean when I say I do my research before I say, oh, aliens must be real.
Yeah.
Like there's way more under the surface than anybody would ever believe. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think a lot of this is for another episode though, because like I'm going to let people kind of like settle on this, because when I found out so much of this information, like it was like my mind was fried, and like my depiction in my mind of what the world was and how it worked was completely shattered and reformed because of the information that I found out. And it's psychological warfare, because if you can joke about this and you can pump this out into the media of like, this is the way it is, and like anything other than that is joked about, like, oh yeah, like that's funnies, or like, oh, this is or they make sci-fi movies about it like it's crazy, and then you can joke about it like, oh, what is this, fucking Star Trek? You know, stuff like that. Because like Star Trek's not a comedy, but that's still something you can joke about, like, oh, nerd kind of thing. Yeah. But like, and that's insanely effective. The power of psychological warfare and making somebody feel like exiled from society just because of their beliefs, which is a terrible, terrible, sad thing, and extremely effective. It works extremely dangerously well, and which is just a sad thing, and it's totally diminishing to our way of life and how we live. And I don't know, it's a major downfall to the human race, just humanity, that we let that affect us. But I mean, it was part of our evolution, because We needed the tribe. We needed to have the group to survive. So we didn't want to be outcasted. So that was kind of like evolved into us because through natural selection, because we needed to be part of a group. So now, years later, we still have those motivations and those drives, but we don't need them. And we're still here like, I don't want to be outcasted from the world because I think aliens are real, you know?
Yeah.
Which goes back to how we started with the politicians and stuff. But the biggest thing you want to, I mean, once you figure out like, okay, there's so much proof and so much documentation and so many testimonies from extremely like thousands and thousands of extremely credible people with very high level clearances. Like you don't get a clearance. You don't just get those handed out.
Yeah.
You got to be very intelligent and have a very high position of power. And also you have to be very smart. Not anybody can just like get a clearance.
Yeah.
And, there's people with insane clearances or insane achievements that have testimonies that are absolutely insane. And it's like, again, you go to like the judicial system where like any person in any backwoods neighborhood can say anything and they can get somebody sentenced to death just because of an eyewitness testimony that you don't even know is true.
Yeah.
But you have countless documentation, and not just documentation, but like radar reports, videos, photos. It's just like this stuff is like, you can't make this up. And high level military, like testimonies, and still like it's all just pushed to the wayside just because it's in Star Trek, or it's in, you know, it's like, this is just like the Green Little Men in cartoons.
Yeah.
Like it's just humorous to us, so we can't take it seriously from a primal reason or perspective, which is just a sad thing. And then that whole psychological warfare is funded by these black budget programs within the U.S. government from these people that need to keep this power. And the reason why I brought in the oil and coal for people that are confused and like the way society is run right now is just because when you finally accept like, okay, let's look at the research, let's look at the evidence of UFOs and like how they, like one of the first things you want to ask is like, if this is real, how did they get here?
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck did they get here? Like, there's the first thing you want to know is the power source. Like, how did that happen?
Mm-hmm.
Which forces you to accept that it wasn't like coal powered or oil powered. It wasn't an internal combustion engine that just like powered this thing and got you light years away. And which is a whole nother topic I'll get to, and even like people are like, and this is another thing too at the beginning of the episode where it's like people are so many steps removed and they don't know how anything works, and they think like you can just plug something into an outlet where like the energy comes from magic. It's just like, oh, clean energy because it's electric. No, you're burning coal and you're using oil to mine this coal. You're using all the equipment it takes to transport things. And again, like these major oil companies and energy companies make money off of the lack of efficiency. They make money the more, like, it's like over 20% of your energy that you're paying for is lost in the transmission of your energy, your power over power lines due to the resistance in the metal, the resistance in the wire. And they make money off of that. They don't care how much power you get. They don't care how much energy you get to. If the least efficient, the less efficient that it is, the more money you got to spend on them to get the power. So they make more money off of the lack of efficiency. and also on top of all the mining of all this shit. So they don't care, and it's there. So it's not clean energy, basically, is what I'm saying. You plug something in, you're not making a good impact in the world. So again, it's not like it's not using electricity. These things can't fly using electricity, and it's also you're forcing yourself to stay in this confined dimension that we live in. You're confining your thoughts to the world you've been taught around you, and it would be impossible to be confined to that and be interstellar, meaning travel the universe, because like it just to get out of the Milky Way galaxy, just to get across the Milky Way galaxy from one end to one end is like somewhere around 100,000 light years, which is meaning like even to communicate with something across the galaxy, like the galaxy with an infinite amount of galaxies, like how small that is, how small we are. Like that means you have to be traveling at the speed of light for 100,000 years just to get to the other end of the galaxy. And then imagine messaging somebody that far. And then you have to wait another 100,000 years if they were traveling at the speed of light just to get like, that's 200,000 years it takes at its best, at peak light speed, for it to be like, you say, "Oh, hey, how are you?" And then them receive the message, and then they send back, "Good, how are you doing?" Just to have a two-way conversation, 200,000 years. Light speed is so freaking slow, and we've never even come close to that. Like, we can break the sound barrier. We can go faster than the speed of sound, which is like insanely slow. But like light speed, we've never come anywhere even near that. But that's like, they call that the speed limit of the universe, because like you can't go faster than that, because the universe, I've talked about this, is expanding. Light is shining. Where does that light go? It goes outwards, even if it's into something that doesn't exist yet. But that's why we know the universe is expanding, because light is shining. And you can't go faster than the speed of light, because what happens when you pass up light? What happens when you go faster than the speed of light? What happens when you go faster than what you can see? Like, everything exists because of light, because we can perceive it. And what happens when you go faster than that? You can't, which is why they call that the universal speed limit. So everything that you're using and operating to communicate, like your cell phone and stuff, that's all like speed of light, the confines of the speed of light. And
so technically, if you go faster than the speed of light, you're seeing the future, which is nothing at some point in time.
You're actually, yeah, you're on the right path there, because you're actually going to the future. You're time traveling. If you even get near the speed of light, that's like if people were on a magic spaceship that could go the speed of light, they leave Earth, travel at the speed of light, and then they come back, it could be years into the future, and they didn't age a day.
Yeah.
Just because of the extra distance they've traveled has created time. Has
created a gap.
Added time to them without them actually aging. Because by the time they get back to where they were at the point in space-time, that time has has to speed up to catch up with the distance that they've traveled.
Yeah.
So time is directly related to distance and speed. Mostly speed, because if you're at different speeds, if you're going a speed, you're traveling a distance. But it would be like if we like linked arms and then we started walking in a circle, but I was just spinning in a circle, you would have to walk around me.
Yeah.
So you're traveling more of a distance.
Yeah.
We're both spinning, but you're traveling more of a distance than me. I'm just spinning in a circle. You have to go faster than me to keep up with me.
Yeah.
Because you're on the outside, and that's how that works. If you go traveling at the speed of light and you like things are around you, life is moving faster because you're traveling distance, and by the time that you get back, more time has passed. Just to keep it relative. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's the reason why. Like there's documentation again. Again, this is going to be a lot of this stuff is just going to be like explosive minds to some listeners, or think that I'm absolutely insane, which is probably more likely what other people think. But like there's the Zeta Reticuli system, which is a talked about star system, but that one is about 39 light years away. There's an Andromeda system, which is around 100,000 light years away. And it's like, how can we travel? Okay, I guess I'll just... there's documentation stating that that some of the craft that are in possession are from these star systems. And so that brings the question, how do you travel that distance without it being like a multi-generational thing? And also, you have to figure out how to travel at the speed of light before that happens.
Yeah.
And become multi-generational. And then if that's the case, then how do they get these craft to be able to sustain multi-generations?
Yeah.
And now we're circling back as to why all this mattered, why I had to establish this backstory, why I had to establish the reason we're stuck on coal and oil as our source of energy, because that all matters. Because these people want to keep the power because they've already invested into it so much, and they don't want to change the course because they need this power. But when you start asking that question, this is the reason why they suppress the UFO topic and make fun of it so much. And it's psychological warfare, because like you can make people feel insane, and if there's mass sightings, your brain will trick you into thinking you didn't even see something just because you're afraid of being ostracized or exiled. Like you can put that into the vault, like your memories into the vault, and not even consciously be aware of what you're seeing. Or you could see something in plain sight and just totally block it out in your mind just because it's out of your spectrum of comprehension. Like there's a study on this where you've probably seen it, where there's a bunch of people passing a basketball around.
Okay.
And like at the beginning of the video, they tell you to count the amount of passes that the basketball players have passed the ball back and forth. And it's like a however many second video, 30-second video or whatever it is. And then you count the passes. People have a different number. Like, I think it was this, or I think it was this, whatever. But that doesn't matter. What matters is there was a big gorilla that walked right through the middle of the video and then like threw his hands up and waved and then continued to walk across the entire screen. And nobody ever recognizes that.
Yep.
Which is crazy, because then at the end, they're like, who saw the gorilla? And they're like, what? Because your brain was focused on what you were doing. You were counting the passes, and you didn't see what was right in front of you.
Yeah.
So that's another proven fact. So that's a high possibility and part of the tools, the weaponry that they use in this psychological warfare. But so that's the reason. That's the reason why they do that, and the reason why it's successful, why it works. But like, what we've already kind of established, as far as what we know, the fastest thing you can do is travel at the speed of light. Because at first it was like the sound barrier, breaking the sound barrier, the light barrier. Like, how do we travel faster than that? Like, we got cables that can send energy at the speed of light, fiber optics.
Yeah.
Basically, instead of metal wires with electrical pulses, they're using glass tubes, like tiny glass tubes, like hair-like glass tubes, and sending light pulses through as ones and zeros instead of like ions through metal. But which is fucking fast.
Yeah.
Speed of light fast. But for space travel, the speed of light is just way too slow. So how do you go interstellar? How is it possible that alien civilizations could be reaching Earth? How is that a possibility? And that question comes to mind, which goes back to the whole power thing, because they don't want to let go of the power and control to release this energy question. So that's why they have to suppress the UFO topic.
Yeah.
But like there is a way, obviously, with all of these testimonies, eyewitness accounts, and documentation. And it is like, to be interstellar. I don't know how I want to release all this, but or if I'm doing it in a order that justifies the information properly. But like, what is faster than the speed of light? Because there is something that is faster than the speed of light, and there's one thing that's faster than the speed of light. And the only thing that is faster than the speed of light is the speed of thought, which sounds outrageous, but there is nothing faster than the speed of thought, because that is absolutely instantaneous. And it starts to get a little bit weird here, because it kind of starts to sound like it's becoming on a spiritual level, but the science backs it. And it goes... I'm going to be losing people if I keep going. It's just... And there's so much to this too, because like, you have all this information that relates to everyday, like nowadays modern life, but then you also got to know the history of how this happened and why it happened. But and like, once you figure all that out, it all clicks. But
Yeah.
just like, to be interstellar is to be interdimensional. You can't go interstellar without going interdimensionally, because like we said, you time travel when you go faster than the speed of light. So the only way to become interstellar, to be able to travel fast enough to get to different galaxies or even across our own, is to go interdimensionally, which is thought. It's because and Einstein kind of stumbled across this, and he called it the spooky effect. But every single and you can look that up yourselves, but it's everything in space-time is connected. Every point in space and time is connected. And you can travel anywhere instantaneously. Anywhere in the universe, like anywhere in the universe, I'm saying in like an encompassing all term. I'm not saying like multiverses. I'm using the term universal as like
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
But you can go anywhere in space and time because every point in space and time are connected, and that is through thought, through I gotta be careful not to steer people away, but it's tough, and this is another difficulty with the English language, is because it's tough to explain things, because things mean different things to other people, and yeah, but it's it's basically just insane. Like I don't know how much I think this is maybe more than enough for this making people go crazy here, but
They're learning more than what they already knew.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, every point in time is connected, but obviously we're thinking on a wavelength. So like everything that we send, all the information we send is on a wave, on like a wave spectrum, like AM radio, FM radio, like your cell phones are all being transmitted through waves. Even satellite radio, everything is all on a waveform, but like even the speed of light, it's all on a waveform, which takes distance. Going up and down on a wave takes distance. But when you think on a linear way, every point in space-time is connected to each other, and you can make those connections through thought, which is in one place at one time always. And that's, but it's interdimensional because the dimension we're in is a waveform. So we're going in and out, or we're going up and down on our waveform, and like our wavelength that we can perceive images and senses. I'm putting you to sleep.
No. My back was just getting tight.
The only way to travel anywhere else in the universe is to go interdimensional, because you have to go out of the waveform that we're existing in to enter exactly where, at what feels like an extremely far distance to us because we're riding this waveform, is actually right here, right now, everywhere with us. But you got to travel interdimensionally to do so. And I also want to go back to the time travel thing, because I know people always are like, why do you, like, what if you travel back in time and kill your grandpa so you were never born? Like, people always say, like, what happens if you do something like that? Like, that, and there's like the whole, like, what came first, the chicken or the egg topic, where it's like, okay, so how would you have even been born to kill your grandpa if you killed your grandpa?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have never been born in the first place to do so. But like, time travel is actually possible in that aspect, and that's already been proven. But that's impossible because you're starting you're on a different timeline. So if you did so like that, it's just a different dimension. It's just a different linear timeline, and it doesn't affect the waveform that you're existing in. It doesn't affect the plane of existence that you're on. That's just an action that you did on your plane of existence.
Yeah.
So that doesn't affect yours. You're just affecting another. But there's, you kind of got to go back into the history too, because like it's so the first like real documented UFO sightings were, or one of the, one of the biggest documented, well-known cases. There are ones before this, but like one of the most documented ones were, 1945. Yes. No, 1947. Sorry. 1945 was the year that the first atomic bomb was detonated, actually, which was like 200 and something miles outside of Los Alamos labs. But they detonated an atomic bomb, which was like the first form of faster than the speed of light travel / communication that we've ever done without even really knowing it at the time. Because when you detonate anything on an atomic level like that, you're sending out a linear shock wave. It's like an EMP, except like linear, faster than the speed of light. Interdimensionally, that travels interdimensionally, which is why you see these sightings pop up. It was basically like, boom, holy shit, everything interdimensionally realizes, whoa, what the fuck just happened? What was that? And that's why you start seeing everything start to happen around then, right after the first atomic bomb, which is different than a nuclear bomb, because we kind of switched that up. But nuclear is a fission reaction, which is the splitting. And or what did I say that right? What did I say? Atomic? Sorry. The atomic bomb.
No, yeah.
The atomic bomb was the first one, and that was fission, which is the splitting of an atom, which is easier, with a little bit less energy. But a nuclear bomb which is the more modern of the two, is fusion, nuclear fusion, which is the bonding of two atoms, which is much stronger. But both of them send out an interdimensional linear shock wave, basically. But it's not a wave. Don't think of it as that. That's just the term I'm using, because it's just like a linear blast. But the atomic one was the first one in 1945, fueled by plutonium. But if I'm pretty sure, like, if I remember right, the nuclear ones nowadays are majority uranium, I believe. But
probably.
I think. But anyways, so that happened. All of a sudden, the only atomic bomb squad in the entire world existed 1947 in Roswell, New Mexico. That was where the location of the only atomic bomb squad, after the first one was detonated in 1945, 1947, Roswell, New Mexico held the only atomic bomb squadron in the entire world, which is where this UFO case took place. They also that year had upgraded their radar systems to have there's controversy on this, whether it was supposed to be intended as a weapon or not, which it probably was, but there's not enough proof on that I want to say whether it was or not. I just, for you guys, I'm leaning towards yes, it was supposed to be intended for this, but there's not enough proof to say for sure. But almost dropped that cap. But where was it? Okay, so the 1947, yeah, that was where the only atomic bomb squadron was. They had upgraded their radar systems to have, essentially, it was a linear version of the of like an EMP. And that was just kind of, placed in this with not many people knowing, or if they did, they didn't realize like what it's basically like if you think, just to put it in as simple terms, like think of it like a kind of like a drug front.
Okay.
Where like you got the business and people working at that business might not even know that this business is just a cover
drug ring.
Yeah, a cover up to like have like drug shit happening in the back. You could just have like you could just hire like a cashier and just like, or like a cashier person applies at your business and you just hire them and they have not the slightest clue. Like that's kind of how this would be. Like people just didn't even really know what this was, or like it was just an upgraded radar system that worked better. And what actually happened was they had radar blips of what they thought was 2 at the time, but later found out that it was like they knew it was 3, but like it was 3. 3 radar blips of what they didn't know at the time, which turned out to be 3 UFOs, which were targeted on this radar, this new radar system, because they were coming in, checking out the only atomic bomb squadron in the entire world, not just the United States, the entire world. We were the only ones. The Nazis were trying. It was a close race. They were trying, but they were actually more focused on anti-gravitic technologies. So they were kind of like sidetracked with that technology based off of the UFO sightings they were having, which crazy backstory again. The rock band Foo Fighters?
Yeah.
That band was named after what they called back in World War. Do you know the story?
I think I've heard it a long time ago.
Yeah, in World War II they called the Foo Fighters these orbs, these glowing UFOs. And like the Allies thought it was like secret Nazi technology and the Nazis thought it was like secret Allied technologies, which it wasn't. But they called it Foo Fighters. And so that's where the name of the band came from. But yeah, basically it was just World War II UFOs.
Yeah.
And each side thought it was the other. So Nazi took a crazy like interest in these Foo Fighters and started working with this technology and these anti-gravitics. And every time I say something, I come up with a whole nother sidetracked story. But I'll get around to it. If it's not this episode, it'll be some other one, depending on how this episode performs. But the Allies, the U.S. specifically, focused heavily on the atomic bomb project, which was the code name for it was Trinity, I believe, was the first atomic bomb project's name. But anyways, so we won that race, and that's how we ended up winning World War II, which everybody knows. But yeah, so anyways, we hit these UFOs with, because like one of the biggest things, I mean, I just answered it already, but like one of the biggest things is like, one of the biggest questions, especially one that I always asked, was like, if UFOs are real and like there's like downed UFOs or like crashed UFOs or like excavated UFOs, from dig sites and stuff that you hear about, it's like, how the fuck is that possible? How can these things travel interdimensionally, but they crash on Earth's weather, natural weather? How is that possible?
Yeah.
So I always thought that was stupid and outrageous, but they're using this linear technology, and they were actually shot down by our radar. And there's documentation and testimony about this. And I'm sure you're interested. I'm guessing you're interested in this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll get you that documentation as well.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything on the podcast about that, but just know that I'm not going to say this stuff without thorough documentation. So I'll get you that stuff so you can see that for yourself. But
yes.
Because like the aftermath of that was insane. I'll tell you off air. But so they were actually intentionally shot down. They found 2 of them, and then it was actually like 2 or 3 years later, a farmer found the 3rd one.
Oh shit!
In on his property, like years later, and
Right. So he claimed it for himself.
oh yes,
Got the fuck off this rock.
yeah, basically, no, they was still taken, but yeah, so that was like the biggest incident because there were so many sightings and so much documentation, and the newspaper that day, that was like the first real UFO, like holy fuck, like so many people saw that and testified, and it was like holy shit. The newspaper the next day came out with the heading on the paper was UFO crash, like we gotta look that up.
I think I've heard
it was like
of that.
UFO crash, or like flying saucers retrieved in blah 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 whatever, and then they retracted it that day. But that actually came out. That paper existed and it was published.
What was it?
1947 Roswell, New Mexico UFO crash newspaper, something like that. I don't know. Google something like 1947 Roswell News UFO crash, flying saucer crash. I don't know. Do some digging, and I'm sure you could probably find it.
Probably.
But they published that paper and then retracted it that day, and then came back out, published it again, saying like it was just Air Force balloons,
Yeah.
weather balloons.
That's what I'm seeing on this.
Yep.
Yeah, you said it right.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. It was. Yeah. So they called it as weather balloons, and they're still using that excuse today.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, they so that's kind of how that all started, because like, and that's when this group was like, okay, we got to kind of reel this stuff in. We got to figure like. At the time, the reason why this all started, it made sense for national security. We were in the middle of World War II, and like, if this was some enemy technology, we got to fucking know about it and keep this secret. So the original secrecy of it made sense.
Yeah.
We weren't sure. We were in the middle of a war, and like shit was going on. So the original secrecy, like, is, I guess, justifiable. And then one thing that a lot of people don't know is after World War II, because the Nazis focused so heavily on anti-gravitic technology, and we won the atomic bomb race, we actually took all the top scientists. When we went into Germany, we basically stole all after the war, because after World War II, we could pretty much do and say anything we wanted.
Yeah.
They had downed crashes too. They had a couple downed UFOs that they were reverse engineering, and they were getting very close. They had very rough prototypes of anti-gravitic technology, and but these top scientists that were working on this, the U.S. came in, confiscated the crafts, confiscated everything, and even took all these top scientists and put them in charge of what is now our CIA, and
I remember
like
hearing
all
this.
the so they basically like continued on with the Fourth Reich,
Yeah, basically.
and put all of these Nazi scientists in extremely high positions in the U.S. government and these like high clearance black project programs. Running these things because they had experience with it and they were smart, and that was like important to the U.S. So that actually happened, and yeah, we're just. I mean, this
There's
is
just
like
so much.
I can't say everything because it's like there's just so much, and there's a lot that I can't say, and there's a lot that like I just can't fit.
Yeah.
But like without talking about UFOs on every fucking episode I pump out,
Jam pack
Yeah.
it all into one.
it's like I've been like building up so much fucking steam. It's like
Literally.
It's basically like you cracked your high life open, put your thumb over me and shook me up.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it, like for the last like few months, I'm just like, UFO dump.
Yeah, literally.
But yeah, so that's basically what this is. But
Fuck yeah.
and I'm not even freaking scratching the surface, dude. There's so much. Like it's like sickening how like this psychological warfare, and if you can make everybody believe in what is wrong and make everything that is real laughable, then you've won.
Yeah.
You have control over
Yep.
everything. And that's what's happened. So dude, like it was just this core group of people. I'm just going to kind of wrap this up a little bit, but this core group of people for that was the original reason for the secrecy. It was for national security. And then like the people enjoyed the power, and then after the war, then it just kind of continued on, and then slowly, actually it was Dwight D. Eisenhower that was the president at this time, and was the in this tight-knit group, part of the UFO thing, the study and everything. So he wasn't the last president to know about it, but was the last president that was in control of it.
Gotcha.
Which kind of leads into the JFK assassination, which is, I don't need to get too far into those stories, but like, basically one of the largest reasons behind this was because JFK was going to go in and just basically tear everything apart. And
Yeah. I remember hearing about it.
and like
Basically
expose and disclose everything. And this core group of people just didn't agree with that.
Yep.
And yeah, the rest can speak for itself. But yeah, and it's no wonder why, because I've asked this question before, like, everybody that was alive during the JFK assassination is already dead, so why can't we open the JFK files?
Yeah.
Like, they're still locked away and they won't
Yep.
let us open. Well, there's your answer. Because this program still exists. These
Yep.
people still exist. Not the people that started this, not the people that were involved in the assassination, but the problem is if you release the information on the assassination, you release the information on all the UFO technologies and stuff. It's not
Yeah.
the fact that aliens exist and they're visiting Earth. It's the fact that this technology exists and there's so much investments in.
And you'll be exposing all the families and groups
Yep.
that are intertwined. With it.
Yeah, it's a massive network through all of our daily lives, and there's way too much to uproot here. It's
Yep.
like a tree with insane amounts of roots, and just the lie just continued. And for national security, this group had to work independent of Congress because Congress is too slow to make decisions. In a topic like this, especially when you have active UFOs coming down and causing chaos, you need a group that can act immediately, faster than make decisions that affect our lives that are immediate. They can't wait on Congress to make a decision.
Yep.
It has to be immediate and independent of the U.S. government, within the U.S. government, funded by us.
Yep.
And all black project. So that's how that happened. And then it slowly became like fed into this group grew through the filtering. It doesn't matter what your rank or anything you are. Like there's 5-star generals that have no idea about this stuff. And it's like, why am I not read into this? But it's because they're good citizens and because they are actually looking after the best interests of national security and the wellness of the country. And this program looks for specific people that are willing to go against what is right. They're willing to act against a good choice. They're essentially what this program is. Like, this program is the most powerful program in the world, and it's run by sociopaths and psychopaths because they specifically look for those people that are willing to do fucked up things and be able to keep it hidden. Because anybody that has their head on right is not going to be willing to do this or keep this secret. So they look for insane people, and that's how it's been so successful for so long. And anybody that thinks otherwise, they can kill because they got a group of sociopaths and psychopaths running all this that aren't afraid to pull the trigger on somebody they were working with that day.
Yeah.
Which is insane. So, I know I've held you here for so long, and you probably
you're good.
It's probably getting a little bit late, but
yeah, it's all good though.
I think that was a good introduction to this. We'll see the response on this. If you like this kind of information, we literally haven't even fucking started.
Yep. Yeah, and a lot of that stuff I've heard the same of.
Yeah. We're literally just getting getting started on this. So
there's so much more.
Yeah, if you guys actually like listening to me talk about this shit, then just let me know, because
He'll talk about it.
I'll fucking talk about it. Yeah. There's a lot of people that might think this is all crazy, but again, you do your own research and you can find this information for yourself. And again, ask questions, look at both sides, and decide for yourself. This is the information that I have discovered and come to the conclusion of, and based off of all the research and legal documentation. When I use the word documentation, I was talking legal documentation, not just a note or a letter that somebody wrote.
Yeah.
And again, for you, I can get this information so you can actually see it. But, but yeah, if you guys like this stuff, let me know. I'm going to see how this episode goes. And if it is a huge flop, then maybe we'll reel it back on the UFO thing. But I think it's interesting.
Or
but
we keep diving until it sticks.
Yeah, we'll make it stick on you guys. Throw it hard enough and it'll stick.
Shit'll eventually stick on a wall.
Yeah, even if it has to stick in to stay there.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Okay. So hopefully that was enjoyable for you guys. Yeah. Just give me your comments and thoughts on this so I can decide whether or not to continue on this topic, because literally we haven't even started yet. This goes way back, and it's absolutely insane the things that this reaches. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you for coming on the podcast and listening to me talk.
Fuck yeah. Well, it's fun to be here.
There's not many people that are able to sit in front of me like this and just listen to the most insane stuff they ever heard. Because it's
a lot of the same stuff I agree with.
Yeah. And I feel safe just talking about this crazy shit in front of you. So I can't do it with everybody. So I appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Definitely.
And I always enjoy our episodes. They're really good.
We always dive in. One of us always dives in at least pretty deep.
Yeah. You blew my mind last episode.
Yeah. Now my mind's gotten blown.
Yeah. Because we were on the black holes thing on episode 70. It was. Yeah. That episode is fucking good. Yeah. That was probably one of my favorites, because it was fucking funny. Mm-hmm. So funny and so mind blowing.
Yeah. It was funny, and then it just
yeah, episode number 70. Go check that out. That's definitely one of my favorites. That was a really, really good episode, because it was all encompassing. So much humor and so much deep knowledge and science. And so good. But
God, yeah.
This episode was crazy too. Nowhere near as humorous. I mean, it was a serious episode.
Well, there was a lot that people can just take from it, a few words you said, and then go just look up that, and then they can be like, oh shit.
Yeah, I was trying to say keywords without getting myself in trouble. So I gave you enough searchable stuff where you guys should be able to kind of look into this yourself. But it's all out there, and you can find it. As technology progresses and as our connection grows, it's more and more challenging to hide this information.
Yeah.
And just the lie has been held on so tightly and for so long. And like I said, psychological warfare is incredibly and insanely powerful. And so much so that you wouldn't even believe you're a part of it. So just do your own research. Don't be afraid to ask questions and think for yourselves, guys. It's I'm not saying believe every word I'm saying. What I'm telling you is go find answers for yourself and ask questions, because that's good.
Yeah.
So do the best you can, be a good person, ask questions, and stay curious. So,
Fuck yeah.
Thank you for joining me. Thanks for listening to my rambles. I always appreciate it.
Definitely. It's always fun coming and doing this.
Fuck yeah. Well, hopefully you guys all enjoyed. I appreciate you listening. If you enjoyed or you got something out of this episode, like, share, follow, especially share. I love seeing this podcast grow. So if you enjoy it, tell somebody about it. Share it. Send the episode to whatever episode's your favorite to some of your friends and spread the podcast. It's awesome seeing this podcast grow. So I love and appreciate all of you guys. So thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next week. Peace out.
Peace.